HRN listeners. As we celebrate our 15th year, we are deepening our commitment to giving voice to the next generation of food systems storytellers, and we need your help. Our internship and fellowship programs help activate new possibilities for underrepresented and underestimated young people through experiential journalism, audio engineering, and production training. Through these unique programs, HRN helps food equity stewards build essential workforce readiness skills that expand their potential and foster economic mobility. Please consider supporting these critical programs. And with a minimum donation, you can be entered to win a dinner for two at an amazing restaurant in one of 8 cities and tickets to a concert at a great venue in one of those cities. We have incredible partners across the country who have donated, as they also share our passion for helping to educate the next generation of food systems storytellers. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. And make sure you donate before March 31st. Thank you.
I'm Hannah for Heritage Radio Network on tour here at Good Food Mercantile in Brooklyn, New York. This coverage is supported in part by the Julia Child Foundation for Gastronomy and the Culinary Arts. I am very excited to sit down with our old friends and amazing cheesemakers, the ladies from Cowgirl Creamery, Sue Conley and Maureen Cunnie. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's wonderful to be on Heritage Radio.
Thank you so much for inviting us to be on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So these ladies have been diligently slicing cheese, getting ready for the mob to descend upon them. So, ladies, this is a very exciting mercantile for you. You just received a Good Food Award for Wagon Wheel, which I definitely want to hear about. But there is also a Good Food exclusive cheese that you launched this year. So tell me a little bit about Hopalong.
Well, Hopalong is our latest cheese, and it's a 6-pound wheel, so it's more manageable than Wagon Wheel. It has certain similar characteristics, but the paste is much softer, and then it's washed in an organic hard cider, so it has a fruitiness at the end of the...
And how did you develop a cheese that was specifically for the Good Food customer base? I know this is a very discerning, very supportive community, so what sort of flavors, what sort of qualities were you hoping to present to these folks?
Sure. Well, we really wanted to offer a cheese that was more manageable for retailers to have. It's really hard when you have a 15-pound wheel like the Wagon Wheel to cut and preserve the quality if you don't sell it all right away. So we knew we wanted to develop a cheese that was more accessible. We wanted something that was we knew what flavor profile and paste we wanted. We wanted something a little bit softer. We wanted it to ripen a little bit faster than the Wagon Wheel. And we talked for a while about washing with mead or beer or cider, and finally we came upon an organic cider that we really liked and started washing it with that.
And then the idea to release it only to the Good Food Mercantile group was genius, and it was really, we were taking a chance, but because they are smaller stores and less known than the larger grocers, but they're really known for being discerning buyers, and our gamble paid off. I mean, we started selling it so quickly that we were out for about, half a year?
Yeah, a couple months. But what is so great about releasing it to the mercantile customers is that we were also able to get feedback right away. So, and they were supporting us. The support was there from the beginning. So that was it was a really great way to launch the cheese.
And we're a shop and a producer, so it was really exciting to have that exclusive-ness.
Well, yeah, I'd love to hear about that juxtaposition that you're in as both retailers and producers, because you have just an incredible line of cheeses, but also to branch out into retail. What have you learned from doing your own retail space that has changed the way that you kind of run the production side of things?
You forgot to mention we also have a distribution arm.
Oh my gosh, you do everything.
It's because no one would pick up our cheese when we first started. So we had to develop our own distribution, and then we always had an eye to a retail arm because we were so far out of the city that we needed to get closer to our customers, specifically chefs. So we modeled our business after Neal's Yard Dairy in London that has small distribution, small shop, and a huge impact on the cheesemakers of Great Britain. So that was our model.
And has the retail space changed your relationships with chefs and with the community at large?
Well, it's an opportunity for the chefs to come in and taste the cheese and have a discussion with the monger, and they learn about the history of the cheesemaker or the dairy and the farm. So it's huge.
So you both come from a restaurant background, which I think is very interesting and definitely, again, speaks to the well-roundedness of everything that you do. It's picnic season, and I think our listeners range from being massive cheese experts to being maybe looking to learn more. So from the Cowgirls, what would you say is the perfect cheese spread if you're bringing some bites to a picnic, or you're hosting a summer dinner party or luncheon? What do you think are the essential components that will make a really well-rounded assortment?
We might have to each give our own opinion.
Okay. Okay, well, let's hear Sue's opinion.
Well, if you're going to be outside, you should pick some aged cheeses that'll hold up in the heat. And inside, I would pick soft cheeses because they're so beautiful in the summer and the spring. The sheep and goat milk are at their peak, so those varieties are really fun in the summer. And you always have to have a Mount Tam, whether you're indoors or out. So
It's a sturdy cheese. It's a sturdy, soft ripened cheese. Yeah.
But the cheesemakers special is we're just re-releasing our cottage cheese, and we love to bring barbecue chips and use the cottage cheese as a dip, and it really fills you up in a beautiful way. It's delicious.
That is such a good idea. I'm so glad that you said that. We talk a lot in our office about how cottage cheese is underappreciated, and it is just delicious. It's the perfect breakfast cheese. Okay, Maureen, let's talk about your favorite, your ideal cheese spread.
Well, I always like to include whatever fruits are in season. I would have to echo Sue's suggestion for outside aged cheeses in the summer and inside soft ripened fresh goat cheese chef. But I also really love the fruit in the summer paired with those young cheeses, whether you're inside or out. Yeah.
So you mentioned you've been in New York for a few days now, and I'm sure you have lots of retailers that you're visiting. I'd love to hear kind of the highlights of what your weekend in New York has been like, who you made a point to visit, and have you had any good bites?
Maureen and I spent a whole day visiting retailers in Manhattan, and it's hard to do Manhattan and Brooklyn, so we had another team over in Brooklyn. But we had some good experiences at Italy. And when we were at Italy, the British cheesemakers were there and some other friends, and then the new buyer is somebody we used to work with at another store. So we had this amazing cheese community connection at the mozzarella counter at Italy. We stayed there quite a long time.
It was waves of people coming and going, so it was really a nice
and then
afternoon.
We had a reception for cheesemongers at Patty McGuire's Ale House on 3rd Avenue because the Cheesemonger Invitational was canceled this year. And that's a big highlight of, especially for the younger cheesemongers, a way to appreciate them and honor them. So we invited them all to Patty's for a beer and a slice. on Saturday, and we happened to intersect with a wake of one of their customers that had just passed away, an Irish wake. So it was quite a gathering.
That seems like a really interesting combination. You mentioned that it's important to you to connect with new cheesemakers. I think that's really wonderful to hear that it's such a supportive community in the cheese world. Who are you seeing out there that is really exciting and you're looking forward to seeing what's next?
Guys next to us here are my pet cheese company now, Cascadia.
Oh, yeah, Cascadia
They're in Washington State, and I also love Sequatchie Cove in Tennessee, because I went to University of Tennessee, and to see something really brilliant coming from that region is fantastic. Who are your favorites?
You caught me off guard.
The emerging cheesemakers.
The emerging cheesemakers. I'll have to think about that for a second.
Okay, we can come back to that.
So many. Yeah.
Are we having a bit of a cheese renaissance right now? Does that seem like there are more smaller producers making a name for themselves out there?
There's a lot of cheese producers. They're having a hard time staying in business. The regulations are punishing. The distribution system doesn't favor small producers, and it's becoming more expensive to start up and stay in business. Do you agree?
I agree. A sustainable business, yeah, it's hard. I mean, cheese making is hard work, and raising animals is expensive, and owning the land. And even if you're buying the milk, if you're buying good milk, that's quality milk comes with a price tag.
Yeah. What lessons do you think are most important for newcomers to the cheese world to have in mind as they embark, now that you're so well established and you are such a voice in the market?
I think the business plan is key, and there's a big resistance to thinking it through 3 to 5 years. The University Extension in California has been very helpful for us, and I talked to the people at Cornell yesterday that are the Ag Extension, and they were really going to focus on small producers and putting them together with distribution. So I think connecting with those kinds of organizations that can really help in the initial stages, and they all talk about a business plan. It's part of the. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I think your local university, University of Wisconsin, University of Oregon, all of them are there to help the young producers and help them get to the next step, and also help them troubleshoot. There's a lot of it's a huge learning curve, learning to make cheese, and there's a lot of mistakes, and these people are there to help you.
And I think being here at Mercantile, I think this community of retailers who are supporting small producers is such an integral part of that, making a small business sustainable. So I'd love to hear kind of, I don't know, your thoughts on this community and what it represents to independent producers.
Well, they're incredibly supportive to new producers. I mean, this show itself is it's a great stepping stone to releasing a new product. And here we're 20 years old, and we still come and participate, and we love seeing what the other people are doing. And we find products here that we want to carry in our shops, and producers that we want to support. So from both angles, it's a really great gathering of people.
I think there is a missing link, and we've both noticed it, that journalists aren't paying attention to this show on either coast, and so some work on that would be good. Thank goodness for Heritage Radio.
Thank goodness for Cowgirl Creamery and our other amazing supporters, because without you all, we wouldn't even be here. So yeah, we're all part of this amazing community. Well, thank you, ladies. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we call it a day? And I'm going to definitely go over and taste some cheese soon, I think.
You do.
Yeah, hopefully you have time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sue and Maureen from Cowgirl Creamery. I'll see you soon.